Hello everyone, my name's Reewyn and today we're on day 5 of my Dead by Daylight Bootcamp. Today, we're going through survivor builds that you can get without spending anything other than blood points. Now, in day 4, we went over what the blood web is. We're just going to add on a bit more info to that. On the blood web, you'll be able to collect perks. These are special abilities or bonuses that help you compete against the killer. As you can see, there will be 3 perks per character at the top. Once your blood web reaches level 50, you will get to level up your blood web and it allows shared perks. The first time you do this, you get tier 1, which is the weakest level of the perk. Do it twice, you get tier 2, and 3 times you get tier 3. Shared perks means every character can use that perk without having to get it on the blood web. Other characters can get that perk at a higher tier throughout the blood web once you get tier 1, but once you get to tier 2 or 3, everyone will get that perk at those tiers regardless of blood web level. You can equip up to 4 perks per round, excluding special game modes like 2v8 where you only have special perks, and Chaos Shuffle where you only get 4 random perks. These perks either come from a character, in which they are specialised, or general perks which you can receive regardless of character. The builds we'll go through today are the ones available from the starter characters you get, or the ones that are generally available. To start learning the game, I'm going to give you 8 recommendations, 3 of which are general perks. I would recommend starting with Dwight, as many of them are Dwight's perks. First, we have Dark Sense. Whenever a generator is completed within 24 meters, the killer is revealed for 5/7/10 seconds depending on the tier of the perk. This will help you avoid getting snuck up on while you're still learning sound cues. Next is Deja Vu. This one is super helpful when you're still learning the map. First, the aura of the 3 closest generators is revealed to you at all times. Additionally, you receive a repair speed boost of 4/5/6 seconds, respective of tiers. Next is Premonition. This will give you an audio cue when you look at the killer within 36 meters. This will help you to learn to listen to sound cues within the game while still telling you where the killer is. This has a cooldown of 60/45/30 seconds respectively. Next are Dwight's perks, as the previous ones were general. Prove Thyself will encourage you to work with your teammates. Per survivor, it will increase your repair speed by 6/8/10% per survivor within 4 meters of you, up to a maximum of 18/24/30%. Next is Bond, which is another perk good for working with your teammates. You will be able to see the aura of the other survivors within 20/28/36 meters. Next, we have perks from 3 other starter survivors, Jake, Meg, and Claudette. First is Jake's, Iron Will. This reduces the sound of your grunts of pain from being injured by 80/90/100%. This means it'll be a lot easier to hide and escape a chase. Next is Sprint Burst, a Meg perk. This perk gives you a 50% sprint boost for 3 seconds when you start to run. This is very useful for when you've been caught at a gen or simply need a boost in a chase. The cooldown is 60/50/40 seconds, respective of tier. Finally is Claudette's perk, Empathy. This perk allows you to see injured or downed survivors within 64/96/128 meters. This will be really useful because if someone has been hit or downed, then they're likely in chase. This will tell you if it's safe to be in the area for a generator, but also if you need to move away from an area. Be cautious in the area where they were. There is often a good chance there won't be many pallets to work with. When it comes to making your build, I recommend creating a balance. For example, if you have too many information perks, which are perks that tell you information on survivors, killers, and things like chests, you have nothing to help you in a chase or when decoding generators. It's a good idea to mix up those that give you generator boosts, stealth, perks that help you sneak away, information, and chase perks, perks that give you a boost in a pinch. Once you've played with these for a while, we can start to go towards more cultivated builds. We're going to go through 4 styles: stealth, chase, generator, and support builds. Again, it is a good idea to have at least one other perk from another build. If you have a full stealth build, don't just spend the whole game hiding. Sure, you can be more sneaky, but it's not an excuse to hide the whole game. If all of you watching become sneaky hiders, the Dead by Daylight subreddit will have my head. First, the stealth build. Iron Will is a good Jake perk for this, as previously mentioned, which reduces your grunts of pain. Lightweight is another good perk. It only reduces the time your scratch marks appear for 3/4/5 seconds, but also reduces the chance of your scratch marks appearing by 60% regardless of tier, meaning your scratch marks are inconsistent and hard to follow. This means it's a lot easier to hide from the killer after a chase or running from a generator, for example. Quick and Quiet from Meg is the next perk that's pretty useful for stealth. It stops a loud noise notification, i.e. the visual symbol the killer receives at certain actions, but it also does sound effects from when you do rush actions, such as doing a quick vault, head-on sprint vault, fast vaulting window, or sprint exiting locker. This has a cooldown of 30/25/20 seconds and is very useful for when you're trying to run away from the killer or just trying to create distance. We then have Dark Sense, which is another previously mentioned perk which reveals the killer's aura upon generator completion. Finally, we have Nia's perk Urban Evasion. This perk increases your crouching movement speed by 90/95/100%, which means you can sneak past the killer much faster. Next is a chase build. This is often really useful if you're adjusting to chases, want to start taking more chases, or simply need a little boost. First, we have two perks that cannot be used together. One is Meg Sprint Burst, which as previously mentioned gives you a 3-second boost when you sprint. The other is Nia's Balanced Landing. This perk not only reduces the stagger effect by 75% when you drop down, the animation in which you are delayed from running again, but also suppresses all noise from landing and grants you a 50% movement speed bonus upon landing, making a fall no longer a detriment, but an advantage. This, like Sprint Burst, causes a 60/50/40 second exhausted status effect, which is why they cannot be used together. For reference, exhaustion is basically just a cooldown for perks with the exhaustion status effect. The next perk is the General Resilience perk. This increases your speed of repairing, healing, sabotaging, unhooking, vaulting, cleansing, blessing, opening, and unlocking by 3/6/9%. This means not only does it help you in a chase, but it improves your teamwork. Next, we have Meg's Adrenaline. Now, this is also an exhaustion perk, but is only for endgame, i.e. when the exit gate or hatch has appeared. You'll become exhausted once it is active, but it will activate regardless of existing exhaustion. Now, this perk activates once the exit gates are powered, aka when all the generators are done. You heal 1 health status and gain a 50% speed boost for 3 seconds, just like Sprint Burst. It will give you exhaustion for 60/50/40 seconds. We next have Empathy, which is the perk from earlier which allows you to see the aura of injured or downed survivors. This is a good indicator for a chase build as it allows you to take over a chase when you see someone is currently in one if you want to. It also tells you if you're the one that's currently still in the chase or someone else. Finally, we have Dark Sense, the perk that reveals the aura of the killer when the generator is completed. Empathy and Dark Sense, as you can tell, are quite useful perks as they have multiple uses. Next, we have 4 perks for a generated build. The first is the previously mentioned Deja Vu, allowing you to see the locations and subsequently go straight over, and gives you a speed boost you're repairing. Next is Premonition. Again, another one we have previously mentioned, but it gives you a noise notification when you're looking at the killer within a certain distance. This means you can tell when the killer is near and hide if necessary before they catch you unawares at a generator. We have Dwight's perk, Prove Thyself, which gives you the generator speed repair boost when near other survivors. This will not only give you a boost, but encourage you to work with your fellow team members to increase the speed of your generator repair. Finally, we have Nia's Streetwise. It increases the efficiency, as in gives you a speed boost, of your items by 15/20/25% respectively, and it also extends to your fellow survivors within 8 meters for 15 seconds. This is very handy when it comes to your toolboxes, as these give you a greater boost to your repair. Finally, we have support build perks. The first 2 we've already discussed, but we'll go over again. Prove Myself and Empathy. Dwight's Prove Thyself gives you a repair speed when within 4 meters of your fellow survivors. Claudette's Empathy means you can see injured and downed survivors, so you can take the chase from injured survivors so they're not downed, or hide nearby to get a swift hook rescue. Next is Claudette's Botany Knowledge. This perk is pretty simple. It increases your healing speed by 30/40/50%, but does also reduce your healing efficiency by 20%. Obviously, this is good for healing your teammates. Next is Kindred, a general perk that only reveals the aura of the killer to all survivors when the killer is 8/12/16 meters away from the hook, but reveals the aura of all survivors to each other if you are the one hooked. And the aura of all survivors is revealed to only you whenever anyone is on the hook. This hook is really useful for rescues, as you can see if someone is waiting to rescue already, and also if the killer is hiding nearby. The penultimate is an endgame perk, No One Left Behind. This perk is activated when the exit gates spawn in or are powered. Your action speeds for healing and unhooking are increased by 30/40/50%. The haste effect is increased by survivors unhooked by you for 7%, which means they're sped up. The auras of other survivors are revealed to you so you can start to think of a plan. And finally, you get a 50/75/100% blood point bonus for the altruism category. I'll go over the categories at the end. This means you're much stronger in the end game and it increases your odds of getting more people out alive. Finally, we have the general perk Will Make It. This perk activates when you unhook someone and it increases your altruistic healing speed by 100% for 30/60/90 seconds. Altruistic healing is when you heal someone with 1 or 2 survivors, meaning it will help you get your fellow teammates up much faster, therefore making that escape that bit faster. Again, I would recommend using a mix of perks. For example, if you only have perks that tell you where people and the killer are, you're going to be at a disadvantage when it comes to using the generators or being in a chase compared to having a mixed build. However, it's okay to run multiple of the same type if you're learning how to use the game, for example, getting better at finding generators and completing them. There is one more thing I'd like to cover today, and that is offerings. Offerings can do things such as increase the chance of spawning into a certain map, increase your luck, stop you losing items, and a whole bunch of different things. However, the priority right now as a beginner is to get perks, and say for that I recommend running blood point offerings. The best one is the escape cake, which gives you a 100% bonus for all categories. The other, which is great for running with friends, is the band envelope, which gives a stackable bonus of 25% to all survivors. This means that you can get a bonus of 125% in blood points. Occasionally, on events like the anniversary, and I suspect the Five Nights at Freddy's too, you'll get an offering that acts like the bound envelope, which gives you a 100% bonus. This means that you can get a total of a 500% bonus, which is crazy good. Otherwise, you can run other offerings that give you a blood point bonus in one of 4 categories: objectives, altruism, survival, and boldness. Objectives is increased by working together and repairing generators, so this can be increased with things like opening chests, exit gates, and repairing generators. Survival is increased by lasting for longer, so hiding from the killer and surviving chases is of a bonus to you. Altruism is from helping other survivors, so for example unhooking another survivor and healing them. Finally is boldness, which is increased by interacting with the killer, so for example interacting with their special objects, breaking the killer's hook, and being within his terror radius, aka when your heart beats. And that's all for today. By now, you should be able to hold a match as a survivor. For day 6, we'll be covering beginner killer builds, and after that, how to work as a team and communicate in order to do your best as a beginner. Have a great day everyone, and I'll see you next time.